unfortunately, I have heard that from a lot of people who don't know anything about campaign finance reform. They think that, oh, the developer bought this politician, bought that politician. Well, now the developer can't give contributions directly to the politician.
And the union?
I'm not
Can
sure.
we decide to do that or not do it? I mean, that's a political question. You can decide to ban unions, you can decide to ban PACs.
My question to you as a candidate, if the police give you a donation and now they can give you whatever they want, and you think you might have to vote their way when contracts come up, even if they lower the limit and give you whatever maximum they want, and you still get the police contribution and your opponent doesn't, don't you still feel obligated to think of them favorably when their contract comes up? I mean, just because they gave you 100,000, now they're only going to give you 30,000, and your opponent didn't get anything.
Yeah.
That
But,
still, to me, is an influence,
It's an
whether you
interesting...
have this level or a lower level.
Yeah, I was only endorsed by 3 unions when I ran. One was a tiny union, AFTI, one was the musicians union, and I have actually been very supportive of musicians in the city, and one was 1199, which...
You just made the comment, that's why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah.
You know, that you said that if a fire police
But-
union gives you a donation.
But now
But it's just
I have
losing
gotten
money.
I have gotten donations since I was elected.
Because you're the incumbent.
Because I'm the incumbent.
Right.
And the hope is that when I run for re-election, that I'll get the endorsement. And you always try to do that. But you don't, I mean, you have to have a core set of values and decide what it is that you're about. And then once you've developed a record, you obviously are going to go after the people who you've appealed to. And you say, look, you know, I support the living wage bill. Now, I'm supporting the living wage bill because I think it's right. But when it comes time to run, I'll certainly go to those unions that support the living wage bill, the Working Families Party and whatnot, and say, hey, I was there for you on that issue. I might not be there for Working Families Party on every issue, but I was there on that one.
I also hear your frustration with cable. And isn't there some way to control cable, or...
I would love to do that. And in fact, there's another point that I'm going to raise on
Actually,
cable.
is that a charter revision issue?
What?
Cable.
No.
Yes.
How would it diminish the powers in there?
Well, when we're finished with this,
Okay.
we can have a discussion on
No,
cable.
but I'm saying you're not getting your fair share of cable,
Yeah.
and,
Okay, there are two issues there.
Sorry, I just want to make sure that something...
What's not a charter revision
Chuck,
issue?
can the charter deal with this issue that you raised with the cable?
No.
Then I don't understand.
Okay, but the other issue about cable, they can.
oh, the equal access.
So let's finish this up.
But that's government, I'm sorry. Well, where you're looking, you made comments about
Time and all that.
newspapers.
I said if that's not a charter issue, that's not for us.
So that's your frustration on another
That
level.
we can deal with when we do the cable franchise agreement, which we're supposed to get one of these years.
With Verizon?
With both.
That's not a charter issue.
No.
And
Is there any other questions
regarding
regarding
with the flyers, you were talking about flies and flyers, and, you know, you see that on every campaign, that someone puts out a flyer that the opponent disagrees with.
Right.
You know, and campaign finance, how would that affect that?
It gives it stricter penalties. In Westchester County currently, there is, what's the name of the board, Aaron? It's some voluntary board, and they make advisory opinions. But in
But your
New York,
penalties only apply to those that were out there.
no, I don't.
Because you said your penalty was that they wouldn't get their money.
Right.
So if you're up to this.
Right.
And then,
Right.
if you don't, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
You keep lying. A question to the chairman. Does campaign finance, in any definition, diminish the power of the mayor?
No. But we can confirm that with Steve Butler.
I mean, it might interfere with his reelection or his campaign.
That's not his power.
That's not his power, right? So that might be city council moved by itself, not just a charter revision.
Which might?
That if Mr. Weston wants to go before the city council and create a financial reform.
If it requires a vote for the, if it requires a vote of the public, and we put something on the ballot, it will not be on the ballot.
Right, but we can only put something on the ballot if it diminishes the power of the mayor.
No, we don't, that's not true. We can do something with we can do anything that has to do with the charter, period.
Charter revision.
We're a charter revision. We can diminish the power of the mayor, by the way, but we can
The
do
only
something
way
else.
we go public voting is if we change the charter without a referendum.
No, we can't.
Or a referendum.
No, No. We have no authority to change, we have no authority to change the charter at all. We can only put, they do on items that don't require public vote. We
And
have no authority to
and
change
in
the charter.
fact, if you put anything on the ballot, that preempts our ability to
Right.
put
They can't,
anything.
even if it's not a non-competing item, they can't put anything on the charter.
Power of the mayor.
No.
We diminished the power when we changed, when we did the last, where we cut his ability to appoint.
Good point, right.
For year.
And that was actually one of the major discussions in here around this notion of strong mayor.
That's right.
So, yeah, so and we'll confirm it.
Yeah, I think it's-
But we don't have the authority, we have no authority other than to recommend something for a vote.
Forward.
Are there any other questions on campaign finance? No? Okay.
Okay, your next item. The second item I was suggesting was an independent inspector general. Currently, the inspector general is appointed by the mayor with the advice and consent of the council. And the question was whether or not it should be appointed by the mayor or somebody else. One of my council colleagues had suggested that it should be appointed by the council, but that also makes it biased. I was trying to think of whether it should be maybe the ethics board that should appoint the inspector general, or whether there should be some blue ribbon panel. But I felt that while this inspector general has been very sincere in what he's been doing, there is a risk that an inspector general could be too sensitive to the executive department. The other thing is that his budget should be outside the mayor's control. Currently now he makes proposals to the mayor and then it comes to the council. I think the inspector general should be just like the Department of Legislature, that should go directly to the council for our deliberations in the budget, shouldn't have to go through the executive branch. And lastly, I think it's in here, is currently the corporation council serves as counsel to the ethics board. And I think that biases the ethics board in favor of the administration. And I think the inspector general, even if he is appointed by the mayor, is still more independent than the corporation council. I think that when he was more apt to provide quick ethics guidance before we created the ethics board. And now that we've created this ethics board, sometimes it's harder to get a question asked and answered because the corporation council doesn't want to opine on it. It then goes to the ethics board. They only meet infrequently. They don't have the professional expertise. I would recommend that the inspector general serve as counsel to the ethics board. And somebody raised the question that the inspector general by charter doesn't have to be an attorney. It could be an attorney or an accountant or an auditor. But if that were the case, then a non-attorney inspector general could still oversee the hiring of an attorney in his office or an outside counsel. But the question is not whether he has the legal skills, it's the authority and the control, and that would be my recommendation.
My recollection when we dealt with that ethics issue was that we really had a long debate about the corporation council and all of that, and I'm not exactly sure of saying something other than I know Steve, because all those things that you talked about were in our discussion. And in fact, my recollection is we cautiously kept the corporation council away from some things.
So, I mean, just for information, we absolutely deliberated this at length last year and decided